And we're live. So yeah, we did a thing last time. I hope you enjoyed that. Noble.
Right,
You,
I'm here.
you,
So
uh,
mic problems.
okay. Well,
Can you
this
hear me?
time we're gonna. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, sorry about that.
We're no worries. We're live now. So last time we talked about Ray. Basically, just going through the whole movie of The Force Awakens, which took us almost 2 hours. This time we're gonna talk about Ray being a Mary Sue and how it's kind of destroying or retconning the Star Wars universe.
Well,
So
I wouldn't go all that far. I mean, it's bad writing, but I mean that's nothing new to the Star Wars canon or the EU.
true,
But
true.
yeah, Ray is a Mary Sue. We've God, were we at it for 2 hours last time?
He like 1 hour 42 minutes or something like that, I believe.
All right.
So we went through it pretty much in detail. So that we were kind of angry. So that kind of made it 2 hours. So um,
Yeah, I know that goes.
well, basically, if we, I've seen this argument a lot since we did the whole hangout. Um,
Actually, I'm interested in
because,
hearing if some people. I mean, I don't know how much exposure that got, but if people have like arguments against our positions here, I'd like to hear them. I mean, is that what you're bringing up?
no, I've been also discussing with other people. I've asked people if they want to come on, they can come on. Um, but I've seen this argument plenty, so we can kind of talk about that and the Star Wars lore, because people have been saying on Reddit, on YouTube, and other places that Anakin and Luke were Mary Stu's or Gary Stu's as well.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's not valid. But
yeah,
go on.
uh, and I would like to say why these two are characters before, because she's most likely the daughter of Luke anyways. But if we take a look at just in this instance, because it's the first of the trilogy, like Anakin in episode 1 and Luke in episode 4. So
Okay.
if we take a look at Luke in episode 4, it's established several times during that movie. He's a good pilot with his T-16. You remember that, right?
Yeah, and he had actually gone through Imperial training, but never actually joined up, right?
Yeah, and I saw a cutout scene where he and Dex. It was a deleted scene where they met up in the Imperial, I think, training ground or something like that. And Dex even says he's the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim. So it's kind of established before he even goes to the Death Star battle
And
that
also,
he's
nice bullseye targets the size of the porthole with
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of said in several types of dialogue that he's a good pilot, and we never actually see him use the Force properly. The only time he really uses the Force is when he actually shoots the proton torpedoes and when he deflects 2 shots with Anakin's lightsaber. That's basically the extent.
did he actually?
He,
Oh, right, when he was training, I forgot. Yeah, and he mostly
yeah,
got.
but that's really the extent of what he uses the Force to. Those two instances, and in both instances, again, he had guidance from Obi-Wan. In the first one, he says, "Close your eyes because they may deceive you," and in the second one, use the Force, trust all that, and that's how he manages to do what he does.
And
And
just a slight note, it's important. Remember when Luke was training with that little blaster droid? He had that visor on that was blinding him. That
yeah,
note about your eyes could deceive you. Um, that is, I guess it's sort of a Chekhov's gun moment because when you go forward to the actual moment on the Death Star, Ben isn't just telling him, use the force, pull something out of your ass and do that. He's telling him to do what he's been trained to do the entire movie. Turn off that targeting computer, don't let your eyes deceive you, use the force. And,
yeah,
right.
Can you guys hear me at all?
yeah. We can hear
Okay,
you.
I hear you. What's up?
finally. Oh, my fucking mic was just acting up.
No worries. We're just going through the whole thing. If you want to jump in, Rouse, just let us know. I'm just dude,
I went and saw the movie with my wife for our wedding anniversary, and I'm lucky she didn't fucking stab me after the movie. We both saw the originals in the theaters. That's right. We're fucking old. Blow my old wrinkled ball sack. And I'm also a writer. And contrary to what a lot of these people, oh, I'm a writer. I actually went to college for writing at one point. And I know the difference between the internet definition of a Mary Sue and what's actually called author insertion with wish fulfillment. Ray has problems. She was written by an amateur, plain and simple. And she was written to pander, and that's the problem.
Even a number of feminist sites have noted the problem with that being sort of essentially Rey isn't an autonomous, strong character. She is wish fulfillment.
Yes, and worse yet, she's pandering. Okay, I could buy her being able to identify fucked up parts in the Millennium Falcon because she's been scavenging off of Star Destroyers, and we'll get to this in a minute. She's been scavenging off Star Destroyers that crashed on this desert planet.
Well, that's not really where all the bullshit comes in. The bullshit comes in with, flying the Millennium Falcon like she did with the TIE pilots and pulling the force out of her ass in the last act. I mean, even the piloting the Millennium Falcon, I was willing to let go, but the entire last act was really where the story went just straight off the rails.
As soon as I saw her fly the Millennium Falcon like she's Lando Calrissian with his balls on fire, I went, this is bullshit. And everybody's saying, oh, it's a clunky ship. She's probably been inside of it before.
No, those are trained TIE pilots, TIE fighter pilots. They should have gotten their asses blown out of the sky.
Well, I don't care if it was two hopped up dudes on meth in a fucking Chevy. Okay, starting something is one thing. I mean, okay, if I walk you around the inside of a Black Hawk helicopter a few times, are you even going to be able to get this fucking thing off the ground?
Oh, God.
This is a complex piece of machinery. This is not a video game spaceship where you press W and automatically take off. No, this is a complex piece of machinery that she has to keep level, keep going forward without it going nose first into the ground or shooting off into the fucking sky. And then she's got to balance all these systems, and she knows jack and shit about them. She's like, oh, the hyperdrive compressor. What the fuck compresses in a hyperdrive?
Yeah, I would
fucking ass.
I would like to also point out that since Noble and me talked about this in depth last time, because you need a co-pilot when you fly the Millennium Falcon, and she flew it alone,
Yes.
and I've seen excerpts from the novelization of the Force Awakens, and apparently in the novel she built her own like flight simulator or something, but that still doesn't explain how the fuck she's able to fly the plane.
It's not just that she can fly. It's how well she flew. She pulled in those really tight, narrow, Death Star corridor type corners, and this literally like fucking just kicked in VTech and fucking just. Well, I don't know what that move was at the end, like mid-air skidding or something. Just Man,
Yeah, and also
It's
what?
cutting off the inertial. It's cutting off the inertial compensators and letting normal gravity and letting normal inertia pull you forward while you're turning the ship, and then you kick them in and you hit the fucking afterburners. I do it all the time on Elite Dangerous. It's that skidding move where she slid and then fucking took off.
Somebody took mine.
does that really work well, like on Earth gravity? I mean, on a planet? I mean, I know that's in space, but
I've done it. I've done it on Elite Dangerous, which it doesn't really compare. But I pulled that move on Elite Dangerous in planetary orbit because it works great. I mean, you just got to keep your fucking bottom thruster. You gotta manage your bottom thrusters so that you don't fucking pile into the ground. And you got to turn at the same time you cut your engine so you're not going forward, and then you fucking cut back in the inertial compensator and hit the fucking overdrive, and you just shoot off. It's a pretty slick move. It's difficult to do without slamming into the ground. She shouldn't have been able to do it. It took me about a year of practice.
all right. So
Well, the thing is also what kind of not just flying through the Star Destroyer. It's how she not just crashing the ship. She slid like drifting on the sandbanks and just used it as a guide to fly. I've never seen that before, and
That is
she
bullshit.
yeah, and she could basically fly the ship better. But if we go back to my argument where we compare Luke, Anakin to Rey, if we see Anakin, because I'm kind of using arguments against her being a Mary Sue, because if we see Anakin, he's not some kind of he's a wonder child of sorts because his midichlorian count is through the roof. But he crashed every fucking time with his pod racer.
Anakin's been doing that for a good long time. That's one of the primary differences between Anakin and Luke and Rey. Both Luke and Anakin had, talking strictly from the movie, not drawing from any other literature, strictly from the movie, it was clearly established that both Anakin and Luke had a long history of doing these sort of things. Yeah, of piloting. And in the case of Anakin, fucking C-3PO too, right? So, God, I don't know why the fuck they did that. In any case, they established the history that Anakin was sort of a wonder kid with machinery, and that he had practiced piloting, even though he never really finished the race. But he had been at it for a while, and that is clearly as stark contrast to Rey, literally just out of the blue, no prior experience whatsoever, pulling that kind of expertise with the Millennium Falcon, and then way off in Act 4 with oh god, Han's death was wasted. It's heartbreaking.
It was
and if we look at Anakin again, he crashed every single fucking time. We don't even know how many times. And you see the shot on.
He also had guidance from Qui-Gon, even if it wasn't much.
Yeah, and he said before the race he guided him, and he crashed every single fucking time on his pod racer. We don't know how many times. Well, Padme even gets shocked when Qui-Gon has that much faith in Anakin. And even in the space battle, it's basically R2 again saving Anakin's ass, because in the space battle he doesn't do shit. Basically, he doesn't shoot.
He does his piloting, but a lot of the sort of small things that you would expect him not to be able to do sort of come into him. I actually like that. Like when he tried to land the ship and he couldn't take it off again, and he fucked up with the shields and everything when he got inside his cruiser. Like that was kind of cute, because even though Anakin's good at piloting, he doesn't really know how to work the ship.
Yeah, it's R2 saving his ass, and he gets off the 2 lucky shots because R2 gets the ship working again. So again, it's and he gets his ass out of there because he knows how to drive really fast, basically out of the hangar ship. That's how he gets his ass out of there. And again, he doesn't use any sort of force or lightsaber skills in the first fucking movie. There's nothing to even suggest he would be able. He even runs from the battle on Naboo. You remember before he gets onto the ship,
Yeah.
Qui-Gon says, "Go the fucking hide," right? Because he can't do shit. He can't even shoot a gun.
Same with Luke when with Vader. Run, Luke, run.
Run, Luke, run. See, the other thing is, I didn't mind. Go ahead.
No, but if you compare it to The Force Awakens, in one fucking movie, without real training, she flies the Millennium Falcon. She shoots like better than a fucking stormtrooper. She knows how to use the Jedi mind trick and use it against another Force user. She didn't even know she had the Force like 10 minutes before. And then she knows how to use Force Pull, which Luke barely knows how to use it in Empire Strikes Back. And then she fucking kicks his ass by just closing her eyes and just wrecking shit. I mean,
it's not even like what makes it particularly bad isn't just what Rey is capable of on her own. I mean, there's legitimate criticisms just isolating what Rey is capable of. But what really makes it bad is the stark contrast to Kylo Ren in this. As Kylo Ren is an experienced, very powerful Force user who is just passing his ultimate test and very much establishing that he's ready to become a true Sith Lord. And he just gets wrecked by this newbie. It doesn't make sense. When you talk about... Go on.
And I would like to use that argument because I've seen this argument again on the internet by everyone who defends Rey, that Kylo Ren was unstable emotionally, and I will say that's bullshit there.
No. Because Kylo Ren is suffering from everything that makes the dark side strong. Okay.
Yeah, just hear me. You have look at Episode 3. Anakin turns. He becomes powerful. He wrecks every single fucking Jedi, except Obi-Wan because he gets too fucking cocky. How the fuck does Kylo Ren become weaker? Well, it's just so fucking stupid. So go ahead.
Alright, well, I look at it like this. In that final battle, I was watching it, and the first thing I thought of was, oh boy, more fucking bullshit ass, let me wield this fucking plasma cord fucking 9 million degree fucking blade like it's a fucking whip and I'm Indiana Jones, because it's never gonna fucking cut my fucking dick off. And they go at it, and the whole fight just pissed me off. But worse yet is I can't remember anything about it.
Well,
that's the real crime. I can remember Darth Vader and Obi-Wan dueling like a couple of epileptic octogenarian fucking fencers. I can remember Vader just fucking with him and just doing it one-handed while practically eating a sandwich in fucking Cloud City. And then I can remember Luke going all baseball bat fury and Vader going, oh fuck, you're not supposed to fight like this. Now what do I do? I can remember every one of those. But like the prequels, I can't remember anything about that fight except for Finn fought him and lost. And then Rey fought him and won. I don't know where he made his mistake. She closed her eyes in the very much common trope of I will close my eyes and center myself, but the bad guy isn't going to attack me, where they try to go back to Luke wearing the helmet and he was suddenly able to block. They were trying to redo that scene, only, oh look, she's doing it in the face of imminent threat and not just a little blaster drone. Isn't she super special?
Well, a couple things. One, when Luke was working with the blaster drone thing, he didn't close his eyes. He had that eye visor helmet blocking him. And,
you know what I mean? They still were doing a throwback to that.
And also, I'll actually comment on the choreography in that fight. I actually liked it because it wasn't sort of woo Jedi, Wachowski brothers Matrix flinging around. It was sort of that old school hard bat swinging.
I think my eyes might have glazed over by that point, Because
I
I went
get
to
it.
see a Star Wars film, not generic fantasy number 7 and oh look we have lightsabers.
No, it's
I
the
didn't.
thing
I
is they don't actually like Kylo Ren doesn't actually like make any like fatal mistakes. I mean, a couple times they gloss over the fact that he's injured, which no, I'm not going to buy the whole he's injured so he suffers from it. You understand? He
I like
shrugged
the way
off.
he was hitting the wound. I liked
Yeah,
the ways he was
yeah.
hitting the wound
He
because I've
shrugged.
been injured.
He shrugged off. I mean, you saw what Chewbacca's blaster bolt does to
Yeah,
other people, and Kylo Ren shrugged that off after. God, I was so disappointed. I saw him shrug that off after killing Han Solo, and and right after being told that that was his final test. I thought Kylo Ren was just gonna be like fucking super beast. I thought they were in trouble, and
yeah.
no, no.
I like him smacking the wound because that is something that certain segments of the military are taught is that you hit the wound because it overloads your pain center. Your pain center can only process so much at a time, and you smack it, and you're in control of the pain. Then it's
Well,
you controlling it.
pain powers the dark side. That's
Right. Plus, pain powers the dark side.
stepping out of just those three movies. You've seen this in a lot of the extended universe, and a lot of like say KOTOR Knights of the Old Republic. There was actually a character that was just all about that eternal suffering and pain because it powered his force use, and the
Wasn't there
only
some dude that had some weird pinhead suit turned inside out, so he was constantly being poked?
no, it was who was that guy? I forgot who it was. He was like all just full of suffering and rage with so much that it was artificially keeping him alive, and the only way you could beat him is by talking him into letting go of it, which was interesting. That's in KOTOR too, but anyways. But the thing is, yeah, I mean, just taking down Han Solo, eating that blaster, but all these things that people say should be hurting him, that's not how the dark side works. It's the exact opposite. All those things power the dark side. All those things just only underscore how much more powerful he should have been than depicted.
And
And then,
he should have gone some Super Saiyan, but instead it's the other way around.
It's like
I
he
think
kind of goes Super Saiyan, and then Ray goes like Super Saiyan 3 out of the blue, and it's like, what? Now, like, imagine if Krillin just went like Super Saiyan 3 and beat up Majin Buu, right? That's what it's like.
Porcelain chips in the chat says it shows he isn't in control. He's not ready, but he is. That's kind of the point. He did the choice.
Yeah, he took down Han Solo. That he was ready. That's he was ready.
and
he
even
took the
dude said
test
he's
and passed
finally
it.
ready. He's finally ready. Bring him to me, and I guess now he gets to be an apprentice, or maybe he just gets to, wander around in his black robe. I think to
I
me the
mean,
worst crime was the movie was generic. It really was. I don't care that it had Star Wars on it. It was a generic movie. There was if you changed the design and names of all the ships, it was a generic fucking movie.
yeah.
It had it.
And uh, here's
Well,
someone in the chat as well. Just before we continue, he
uh,
was taught by Luke, yet he was not able to defeat a noob. Granted, we don't know the extent of his training, but it must have been quite extensive considering his age. And I would also like to point out he was trained by Luke and Snoke.
yeah, as I say, he got
Yes.
trained by essentially the most powerful Force users that exist in the present universe. There's no reason. I mean, you saw what he was capable of, like stopping a blaster bolt in midair, this literally just like walking over Ray and how many other people with his Force powers. It just seriously. Even right before Ray went Super Saiyan 3, he just tossed her aside like nothing.
Yeah.
You saw what he was capable of.
It just kind of got me. I mean, the first one, had its problems. We all know
It got a
that.
lot.
We've gone over 1,000 times, and it's just it didn't even a lot of people bag on Finn's character, and
Yeah,
my biggest thing is whoever wrote that "I was in maintenance" line knows dick about the military.
I think he was
They know
lying.
absolute dick.
No, he was lying about that because we know
He
Finn's
had to have
backstory.
been.
No, he was because we know Finn's backstory. He was one of these small squad of elite super trained troops, which is why he
Right.
should not have lost to the traitor. That's what TR-8R is. At that
I like
fight, sort of, I liked him, but Finn losing to him was awkward because Finn was supposed to have been better than everyone else in his unit.
Yeah, but Finn grabbed up a lightsaber and got his ass kicked because he was using an unfamiliar weapon.
That's the thing. Finn got his ass kicked in everything.
I know.
It's just like, really, just everything. They lost 100% of the fights that he was in. When he was in the desert, first meeting Rey, against Traitor, against fucking Kylo Ren.
TRR8, you mean? Which the
See,
internet has called him.
And I didn't even mind. I didn't even mind that he was raised to do all this killing, but he goes into his first battle is like, man, fuck this.
I thought there
But
was some like Force Awakening there. That's what I thought. I thought there was some Force.
I thought he
happening.
was feeling him die, and he was like, I can't do this. And
Yeah, but just to find out that it's just random whatever, I mean, I guess.
But then he's fine turning around and killing everybody he's ever known without a bit of fucking remorse.
Does he? Because he had his lightsaber out, and I don't know who he actually killed with it. He took down the TIE
He
fighter.
assisted in killing that entire planet. He helped them kill everybody he has ever known.
Oh, that's right. Oh man, that's right. The entire Death Star. Yeah, they're all dead.
He didn't try to say, you know, a lot of these guys were taken as children and they might change their mind like I did. No, it was LOL, fuck you. I'm a good guy now, so I can, you know, kill 2.5 million people because I'm a good guy now.
I didn't even think about that, but you're right. They didn't really, and I also think that they didn't really, like, the fight between him and TR-8R. There should have been more to that because they recognized each other. They were in the same unit. There should have been more than just.
There was no emotional content. It was, oh, look at how shiny this is, and look at these special effects, and what's human emotion? I'm sorry, I am Bot 90.
That could have been such a powerful moment. And
when they're like, hey, you worked there, you know how it's designed, can you help us destroy this? And him go, no, I'll help you disable the weapon. I'll help you destroy the weapon, but I'm not killing. My nanny that raised me lives there. You know, the woman that changed my fucking diaper and held me when I fucking scraped my knee lives there. I'm not going to help you kill all these fucking people.
And, like, not even, like, okay, when TR-8R went down, it's like, nothing, that's it? That was your bro for how long?
I was like, damn, man, you objected to your first battle because the stormtrooper you had known all your life reaches up and smears blood on your fucking mask. They killed a bunch of civilians. You leave. But your first battle by the side of the good guys, you're like, LOL, fuck you. Yeah, I showered with you and you helped me fucking pass astrophysics, but I'm going to stand here and laugh while my friend fucking shoots you in the fucking dick. There was no fucking moral struggle. None.
I've seen this also in arguments so many times on at least Reddit, because people are using no, it's okay, but people are using like stuff outside the movie to explain stuff in the movie. If you need shit outside of the fucking movie, you're not doing a really good job.
That only underscores how bad it is in the movie.
It's one thing with a Hulk movie. If you've never read a Hulk comic book, get the fuck out. Don't go to the movie. But if you go to a Star Wars movie and you've watched all the movies that came out, even that fucking that fucking messy muling fucking kill me now abortion that fucking Lucas shit out called the first three, you don't come up and tell me, hey, you need to read this novel and this novel. No, fuck you. Take your novels and hit the fucking bricks. I paid $14 for my ass. $50 in fucking popcorn and drinks, $20 for my old lady. I want to know what the fuck's going on in the movie. I don't want to fucking study. I'm not in fucking college. Kiss my fucking dick and tell me. Or show me. It's a movie series, not a fucking book adaptation. I'm not going to see Harry Potter and the Magic of the fucking Force where I need to have read the fucking books. It's Star Wars.
Now, even the Harry Potter movies were sort of consistent in that you can get the gist of whatever happened and why just from watching the movies. I mean, reading the books gives you more depth and more detail, but there were no actual open plot holes that.
If you really want to go by the books, Leia had twins.
And if you really want to go by the books, Leia had twins. My wife knows this because she read them. She offered me
Yeah.
one. I was like, no thanks.
The Solo
I
twins,
told her to
yeah.
read it as a joke, and she read it.
The Solo twins were a big
the-
deal in the extended universe.
Yeah, they are. But it's like if you need to have external stuff to explain the movie, which is over 2 hours long, you're really doing a bad fucking job.
Yeah, that's
Because the movie should stand on its own legs. It doesn't need extra stuff that's not in the fucking movie.
And what was sad is you could see so much that they could have gotten rid of
yeah.
and just adjusted. I mean, that shit with Luke and Chewie on the fucking spaceship. No, they could have walked. They could have been like, "Hey, let's take that one that's covered," and they run up there and on Han Solo's like, "What the fuck are you doing on my ship?" I would have accepted
instead
that he was
of
there watching her.
They didn't need that whole Looney Tunes thing with the aliens escaping on.
Yeah, that was just fucking done. You know what that was? You know what that was right there? That was built. That was lazy writing, like my wife just said, and building a fucking video game level. That's it. It was for a fucking video game. That's it.
Would that make a good video game level? Because
No, it wouldn't, but it would make a shitty video game level like they always put out when you tie it into a movie.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Tie-in video games gave us E.T.
Oh, God. I'm thinking back at the Star Wars games. I mean, Force Unleashed was kind of corny, but I mean, it was fun. And Super Star Wars was hard as fuck, but it was good. Even the Nintendo Star Wars games are actually.
No, they weren't.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're pretty shit.
Here,
I'll take it back because wait a second. I remember Boba Fett in Cloud City. Fuck this game.
Yeah.
here we have again porcelain, the lovely porcelain chips. The first of a trilogy should always explain things enough. It's completely arrogant to assume they can demand you to do any research for the first movie. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Every first episode of the trilogy needs to assume you have not seen the other movies. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
And
Because
here,
what if you're fucking 20 years old and going, "Hey, baby, I like Star Wars. How about me and you go see this new Star Wars movie?" "Oh, I've never seen it." "Oh, that's okay. It'll be totally cool. You'll know what's going on. It's the first movie in the trilogy. They always explain shit." And great.
Yeah.
Now she's mad. Now she's mad at you because she sat in a cold theater, has no idea what's going on, has a headache because the fucking movie runs at some weird fucking piece, so there's a black bar partway down through the fucking screen. And now you're not getting any pussy, and she's going to tell all her friends you're a dick, and now congratulations, you're pussyless in college for the rest of your life.
Oh, hey, my best friend died. Best I gotta go betray the order.
and we have from the chat, Corey Flies.
I love that line.
We have from chat, Corey Flies. I'm just watching the chat while you having to explain all the plot.
Too fucking much to explain nothing.
Go ahead.
Having to explain all the plot holes in the prequel trilogy helped make the expanded universe a convoluted mess it became. Exactly. So if you need to explain all the shit in the novels, it's gonna be a mess.
I read a novel. I read three books that probably nobody here has ever heard of. It was that Han Solo stuff written in the fucking late 70s, early 80s. And then I tried reading one of the newer ones, and holy fucking shit, the guy spent half the fucking book slobbing on Boba Fett's cock. And I didn't
talking about the Han Solo trilogy?
The original one back in the 80s.
Yes.
That one those were good, and so I had high hopes. I
didn't care for his like weird girlfriend that went on to. That was weird, but
I want to girlfriend down well. But so I read the new one with it's Boba Fett and Han Solo are in like their 80s, and he tells Leia, "Hey, I'm gonna be back," and she's like, "No, you're not." And he flies off of this bar and it starts having memories, but the two of them are sitting there talking shit to each other and going over old memories and about how each of them got away. The guy spent so much time, the writer spent so much time slobbering on Boba Fett's dick that I fucking threw the fucking book out the window.
What? Boba
I
Fett
have
and
no
Han Solo, or Boba Fett just bros with people? That's how it works?
And
that's
a friend of mine goes, "Well, at the end of the book, they stand in the middle of the street with each other, waiting to draw down on each other. Well, who wins? Oh, it doesn't say. That's the end of the book." I was like, man, I had to take this book and beat you to death with it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's nothing nothing that we know of in either Han Solo or Boba Fett that would drag it out like.
No,
There is
that's not.
nothing that we know of either of those characters that would have that confrontation extend beyond them sitting in the bars. That one of them would have
Yeah.
gotten shot before they left. If it
I
was,
mean, they went out in the street like it's the Old West. I remember that. They went out in the fucking street like it's the Old West, like he's fucking got his mouth full of chaw and adjusting his Stetson and wiggling his fingers next to his pistol like a fucking epileptic.
God,
And
what?
and just waiting for Boba Fett to draw down with a big grin. And it's like, get the fuck out, because Solo would have shot him in the balls under the table.
Yes.
So,
Hang on. What's up?
Dinner.
Okay.
and
Go ahead.
sorry about that. Yeah, and I've also seen this argument for Rey, that she's been this is kind of theory. I've also kind of had the theory that Rey was trained by Luke, but he dumped her on the planet so the Knights of Ren wouldn't go after her. But again, that's just speculation. But
And what, had
if
the CIA fucking pump her full of chemicals so she doesn't fucking remember any of it?
no, just let me
That
finish.
makes sense.
Okay.
Just let me finish. And Luke mind wiped her mind because she was pretty young back then. So it was probably possible because she wasn't strong enough in the Force. However, how old is she then? Probably 7, 8 when she's dumped on a planet. How the fuck can she have had training and use all that stuff in that movie? Even because younglings, even back then,
Now,
aren't that strong. They aren't
Okay,
that strong.
where does she get that kind of training as a youngling? Yeah, that's a good point. And
I
even
mean,
then,
you see in episode 2, I believe,
Kylo-
Yoda instructing the youngling, and all they do is deflect those shots which Luke did in episode 4. That's all
40
they
of
do.
them-
And
40 of them could not be Anakin. They can't be that goddamn good.
I watched Clone Wars all 6 seasons again,
You
and
fucking
there's one
bastard.
No.
Go ahead.
and there's 2 or 3 episodes, I believe, in season 6 where the younglings are supposed to find the crystal for the lightsaber, and they aren't that strong then either. They can't even handle a lightsaber because they're figuring out how to reconstruct their lightsaber. That means they're officially a Padawan, not a youngling anymore. And for Rey to even be possible for her to all that shit, it's impossible by everything in the Star Wars universe that we know. Go ahead, you guys.
Well, I'm eating, so hang on.
It's just it doesn't even make sense, even with that explanation that she has been previously trained.
yeah, that doesn't really make sense at all, because then there's no recognition about who or what she is when Kylo Ren or any of the First Order, when she encounters them multiple times. No.
Have you ever read a book, and toward the end of the book, when it looks like certain doom for the protagonist, and all of a sudden he suddenly develops a power or pulls out a gun from behind his back that, oh, I had this all along.
Deus Ex
How much have you
Machina,
hated
right?
That's what they pulled.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
If he would've
especially
cut off
with the Earth splitting in two when after she beat him, with the Earth just splitting in two. That's a fucking X moment. Yeah, and I've also seen theories that she's Obi-Wan's granddaughter or Palpatine's granddaughter.
I don't
Because
think
it
I
doesn't
heard
make
What, Obi-Wan banged some fucking hooker in Mos Eisley?
Yeah, no shit.
No, because he never broke his vows in the Clone Wars, which is canon, by the way, which George Lucas wrote and produced, also, by the way, before he handed it off. He never broke his vows. He was in love with the Emperor. I think she was Empress Satine of Mandalore, but she died. she had no kid, and he never broke his vows because he said to her, "I would leave the Jedi Order behind if you asked me," because he loved her, and she didn't. And how someone can be Obi-Wan's grandchild is fucking impossible. And for Palpatine to have made clones again doesn't make any sense either, because yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, give me a minute.
I'm not really sure how any of these explanations really help without introducing other problems.
What it is in order to explain her magical, mystical, wish fulfillment powers, they have to tie her to somebody even more powerful, or somebody
Yeah,
that was powerful pre-established. Because otherwise, if you've got to introduce your fan fiction character as the daughter of Darth Vader, get the fuck out. That's like introducing your fan fiction character to Hogwarts as the son of Snape. You know, like Snape banged some hookers or some shit. Either she's Luke's daughter, she's Han and Leia's twin daughter of Kylo Ren, or she's some random fucking chick on a desert planet, which I would prefer.
Yeah, but she couldn't be Han or Leia's daughter, because they other ways they've done a terrible fucking job of in that movie, because nobody knows her, and she can and it's probably Luke's daughter, or she's just some random. Still though, in any sort of explanation, doesn't fucking explain how she knows all the shit she does in the third act of the movie. Nothing.
And that bit where she
I
gets
mean,
the lightsaber, ugh.
I missed that.
No, this isn't a box. Luke left it, and whoever finds it is the new chosen one. Pull the fucking sword out of your ass and be the king of Tatooine. It's fucking ridiculous.
again, and I see this. When they compare and say Anakin and Luke are Mary Sue's, both of them get their ass kicked in the second movie. Anakin gets his fucking hand chopped off. Same with Luke, who Anakin chops his hand off, and they both get their asses pretty massively kicked. So saying there again, Gary Stews or Mary Stews or whatever you want to fucking call them, it isn't true, because they can't do anything they want. She can do everything in
I'm laying money on it right now. In the next movie, Finn's hand's gonna get chopped off.
Yeah, because
Not
she's not gonna
Finn.
get
Yeah,
yeah,
Finn's
because
hand. Finn's gonna lose
Ray-
his hand.
yeah, Ray is not gonna lose her head, because violence against women is not gonna be depicted on fucking Star Wars.
So they're just gonna have Finn do all the actual Jedi shit, and Rey gets all the powers. That's
Mm-hmm. He's gonna get his hand chopped off, and he's gonna have a gay robot following him around. I'm calling it now. And that little fucking robot, I want to kick that fucker across the screen. That little robot annoyed the piss out of me, and I don't know why.
Finn better be a Jedi by the end of this. That's all I have to say.
Nice
was
wish.
in the toy aisle, just like I did.
Yep, BB rolled flat out of the toy aisle and into the movie.
And I've seen all these reviews of the movie defending this movie, even though it's a carbon copy of A New Hope. How the fuck does this movie get away with and get such praise, and any other movie would get slaughtered?
It's
If
not a
they
carbon
did-
copy of The New Hope. It's the fat kid in 4th grade who's eating too much sugar describing A New Hope to you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course it's not a carbon copy, because A New Hope was at least original. This, however, is a fucking mess. And people also saying that you're not even a real fan if you don't like this movie. You're a fucking idiot. Because
they can suck my old ass dick, okay? Because if you're gonna walk up to me and say I'm not a fan, when your ass wasn't even born yet, when I was jerking off to Carrie Fisher, then you can suck my old dick and all the old and see if you can get all my old fantasies out of it. Because I'm a real fan. You're a fucking noob late to the scene who's dancing around saying you're a fan because you bought some DVDs. Kiss my ass until you waited in line for an hour and a half to get into Star Wars and got in a fist fight over who was cooler, Luke or Han. And it's Han, fuck you, suck my dick. I mean, holy shit, I love that. You're not a real fan if you don't like this movie. What are you, the fucking thought police? Hit the fucking bricks. And you know what the biggest problem with the movie is that nobody's actually really addressing? The Death Star I can buy. Big fuck-off reactor. You know, they built a fucking big-ass reactor and a big laser beam and wrapped a station around it, which happened to look like a moon because who knows why. This weapon, this super fucking weapon, they were using the wrong thing as a weapon. This thing cruises up to a star system, sucks away all the fucking nuclear energy out of a fucking star. That's all you got to do. You don't have to fire laser beams. You just suck away the star and leave. Because you know what happens when planets don't have a star? They go flinging off the asshole ends of the universe, and everybody freezes to death. You don't have to shoot shit. Roll up, dissolve their sun, use it to power your fucking Nintendo, and fly the fuck off. And
This
plus,
is
here's another thing.
true.
They compressed an entire fucking sun. Suns are goddamn massive. They are not. If you go out in space, the sun is not the size of what you see in the sky that you can cover with your fucking thumb, you waterhead. They're fucking massive. It compressed all that energy, and at that rate, energy becomes mass. They
And,
push it down into this little space, and they didn't get sucked up.
well, hold on. Let me just comment here because this is my field.
Okay,
There's
cool.
this perception that the sun can actually like be compressed so that it's just this energy and blah 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 whatever. No, understand that the sun, especially at its core, it's already really compressed. It's I mean
Right,
for
I got that.
for certain stars they are so compressed that they actually enter degeneracy because the actual electrons exert pressure in order to avoid violating the exclusion principle. That's how densely packed the core of stars are. Right?
So
Can't
what if they sucked an entire star into the size of that little reactor he was flying in circles around, playing, you know, getting one up every time his fucking
you know,
blast?
that is, unless you have some type of technology that makes more space than there is, you know, like unless the inside of that planet was like that fucking Harry Potter tent that's bigger on the inside or something, that is impossible. It is literally impossible. It is not possible to compress a star like that. It's not what happens. You
And
cannot
even if you
do
do
that.
hit that point, isn't that called a black hole or a quasar?
Well, that's when the mass hits a certain threshold, and yeah, you get a black hole. Actually, yeah, if they actually did take a star and compress its mass even further like that, it would pass the Roche limit and create a black hole.
Yeah,
That is 100% what would happen.
And if they spit that at the planets, that would have been cooler. No fucking bright lights in the sky, just poops. Planet gone. Which you don't need to do because there's no star, and now the fucking planet's freezing to death and swinging off into nowhere.
exactly.
Well, it literally wouldn't be bright lights because they wouldn't see the black hole coming. You literally would not
Right.
see it.
And I mean, that's what got me about this weapon is it was the dumbest fucking weapon written by a preschooler or somebody who saw Star Wars with a cratered head wound. I mean, if you can drain away the star, and then people are like, "Oh, well, they have gravity generators. They could have off-put the gravity of that star." No, they can't.
It's not how that, it's not even a measure of gravity. It's physical space. They would need more space than that planet. I mean, that is the issue. You can't understand. You cannot really physically compress that star any further without black holing it.
I know,
Right.
contrary to belief, that light has mass because electrons have mass. I know that much.
Light doesn't have mass. It has momentum.
Okay.
It's an electromagnetic wave. There are electrons in the sun, and like I said, at the core of stars, they are so compressed that the electrons exert pressure in order to avoid violating the exclusion principle. They are so tightly compacted that they are at the barrier of being forced to violate the Pauli exclusion principle. And
Which is, for those of us at home and those of us that only have an electronic engineering degree and not a cool degree like you're using, what is that?
Particles cannot occupy the same space at the same time.
Okay.
Right. So electrons are so tightly compressed at the core of these stars that that's how close they are. There's pressure trying to push them closer together, but they won't go closer together because they can't, and they end up actually sort of pushing back. It's called degeneracy pressure. I don't know really what kind of star it was that they were drawing from.
It looked like a yellow.
Guessing somewhat closer to ours.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to that, but the emphasis is that you can't really just like shrink it down. There's no space in between. I mean, the photons that are generated from further inside of the star actually take like generations, no, thousands of years to actually escape the star
we also have to remember.
In the way.
Yeah, we have to remember it's still a movie. It's Star Wars. It's gonna.
Come on in. It's still they treated us like idiots because number one, when he's flying in that circle, blowing up the whatever the fuck it was, scoring 1,000 points per hit, or to complete the level before he shoots out. When he broke the containment on that star, it shouldn't have slowly cracked apart. It should have went poof as the sun fucking reignited in there. The whole fucking the Death Star we could buy. This fucking dumbass planet with a cannon sticking out of it, like somebody put their dick in a donut, it's ludicrous. It was stupid. It was one of the dumbest things in the fucking movie, and that's saying something.
Like, there's a difference between like super powerful magic energy source that can blow up planets and shit like the G.I. Joe movie where ice sinks and destroys space. That's what we're talking about here.
I see also in the chat that the whole New Republic thing, where we know they blew up the Hosnian system. I've kind of confirmed it's not Coruscant they blew up. It's the Hosnian system. Hosnian Prime, I believe it was. And
outside of the outside of the movie, you have no idea what those planets were or why.
Yeah, exactly. Again, bad storytelling. And you also have I think it's the Lost Stars or it's in Aftermath where they explain the situation of the New Republic, but no one is gonna read those books. Most people are watching the movies, have no fucking idea what the New Republic is.
They didn't
they're out of fucking print.
They didn't have to do a lot to really explain.
Exactly.
To highlight the New Republic.
Do it in 1 minute. That's all you had to do.
And there's plenty of shit they could have cut out to introduce that.
But now that you bring up the New Republic, I got an interesting question for you, which I asked watching the movie. Leia Organa Solo is a politician born and bred. She was born for politics. It probably gets her wetter than hell. If so, why is she with the New Rebellion hiding in some fucking ammunition bunkers on planet Jungle and not there?
I mentioned this in the last stream. It's kind of a lot over a lot of people's head. There was some political commentary regarding. They didn't mention it much, but Leia's with the Resistance because the New Republic itself isn't acting against the First Order for.
Yeah, they said that, but that just leaves a shitload of questions.
It does.
Which means the next movie is going to be Attack of the Snores while we watch fucking 2 hours of politics and Jar Jar Binks makes a reappearance to make some stupid-ass vote.
It's supposed to be a parallel to real-world politics. Yeah.
For fuck's sake, I go to the movie to escape shit. I don't need some fat, elite Hollywood fucking millionaire telling me about real-world politics. Blow me. I'm poor white trash. I know what's going on. Fuck. But, I mean, they could have spent time on that instead of, that whole scene with the fucking googly monsters on the fucking ship trying to eat Han and Chewie and the 2 retards.
Yeah, what would have made sense is because I kind of figured out a story before I watched the movie, and what I figured out was Han and Chewie were on Jakku they had the Millennium Falcon, and they came to rescue Rey because they saw she was in trouble or something. That would have made more sense instead of her flying the ship out of
Yes.
there. And
Yes,
then you would have skipped the whole fucking scene of the freighter and degrading the character of Han Solo, going back to being a smuggler, which again makes no fucking sense. He was a general in the rebellion.
Yeah, see, when they said he was smuggling shit, I thought he was smuggling guns.
Yeah.
If he would have been like, we just got to get to the hold. I got like 90 million guns in there for the resistance and some grenades.
Exactly.
It would have been funny. It would have been nice, like in my opinion, if while Rey and Finn were running around on Jakku, they just sort of bump into Han Solo, who just so happened to be there, literally smuggling guns. And holy shit, it was the First Order.
I mean, the First Order isn't there for Rey. They're there because they're trying to fucking bust Han Solo smuggling 90 million fucking guns into the system.
Well, they were going after what, Finn, or was it?
Yeah.
I mean, they were on Jakku for a reason, but they had no idea that, say, Han Solo was there until Finn and Rey bump into him, and then the First Order suddenly knows Han Solo's there, and it just...
And that kind of got me. The First Order chases Finn, right? They fucking send 90 million troops to this planet to find one motherfucker. You know what modern armies do when some dude doesn't show up? Fuck that guy. That's what they do. Fuck that guy.
Look at what happened to Berdargle, so...
Yeah, well, he deserted. He deserted in combat in enemy territory and then aided and abetted the enemy. That's different. Dude that does it in the National Guard or an active army that one day says, fuck this, I'm not in the army anymore, and leaves, they fucking write him up as AWOL, and then they ignore him until he shows up at his parents' house because he's cold and hungry, and then they send the MPs to arrest him. They don't fucking mobilize 1st Cavalry Division.
Well, understand, Finn didn't just up and leave. He broke out a prisoner and stole a TIE fighter. That's kind of a big deal. Not just any prisoner either.
It's just the overreaction. It was like, oh my god, let's move the entire First Order. Why? What's he got?
The entire First Order?
He has the plans.
Didn't they just send like a battalion or not even a battalion? How many troops did they send? They sent a couple of They had a couple of TIE fighters and some troops.
Why the fuck do they keep
I don't know. They sent a bunch, and then they sent TIE fighters, and then they did something, and he had plans shoved in the fucking bouncy robot, and by that time I don't know.
It's
My
the
brain was freezing out.
all over again, except for more eviler.
Yeah, like she said, it's the evil empire all over again, only more eviler and dumber.
I want to comment on something you mentioned earlier, which I found interesting. You said that the movie was generic, right?
Yeah.
And what interested me is that the reason why it's generic is because, all these tropes were tropes established by Star Wars that a bunch of other movies have gone on and reused over and over again until that just sort of became, standard, what everyone expects from Star Wars. And that's the reason why it's generic is because J.J. Abrams just ripped off of the original trilogy and didn't really add a whole lot to it.
And see, I don't pay attention to directors that much because I find myself getting pissed off because they'll do one movie that's complete shit and then they'll do another movie that's great and I didn't see it because it was a director. So I wasn't, they said J.J. Abrams, I said, okay, whatever.
Well, the thing is, J.J. Abrams, whenever he picks up new IPs like this, like consider Star Trek and Into Darkness, he literally just pulls off of old successful moments earlier in the series and just rehashes them. That's just what he does.
I'm going to say something I said on Twitter last night. The best part of the new Star Trek universe is that Wesley Crusher will never be born. That makes it worth it. That makes it worth it right fucking there.
Oh, that's
Wesley Crusher.
That's true.
Funny. That's funny.
But it's one thing. See, and tropes aren't bad. Tropes are there for a reason. Because if you got rid of every trope, your novel or movie would consist of nothing. Because tropes are there for a reason. Because they're part of the writing.
It's lazy writing. Tropes don't necessarily mean it's lazy writing.
It depends. Are you talking about TV tropes where they have obsessively and fucking spurgaliciously written down every possible kind of trope, including the inversion, so there's nothing left to write about? Or are you talking the overused hack bullshit super cliches that feel forced now.
Well, the thing is, if a trope is used very lazily, then
Yes.
it can be cliche because
Yes.
that's what really cliches are, just really lazy use of tropes that just don't innovate. They're so predictable, and it's nothing to it. There's nothing really to mix things up. Like I was hoping that when the new Death Star was about to blow up, they would have like hit a release switch or something to show that aha, we're not falling for that a third
Yeah,
time.
we're not falling for that shit anymore. Surprise!
That would have been nice.
And the action. There was a problem with the action. I have one working eye. I only have one eye that works. So when I go to the movies, I have problems with some of the action because it's fast. Now this is my personal bitch because I'm an old bastard with one eye, and I'm confused by shiny objects because I'm a fucking Gen Xer. So I'm watching the action, and I'm watching all these fucking TIE fighters race in, which is a cool moment. And then suddenly, none of the fucking aerial battles make sense. Instead of being clean and easy, it's like they shoved every single bit of fucking GPU space they could into the fucking scene in order to say, look how cool we are. We can fit 50 X-Wings and 80 TIE fighters in here, instead of giving us something clear and concise that the audience can follow and give a fuck about.
They're trying to make it look all big and complex and complicated. It's just as it's background. You weren't supposed to pay attention and know what's going on.
Then why is it in the movie? Then why is it in the movie? Why is it important for me to watch these assholes do a fucking barrel roll for 15 minutes? Ditch that shit and give me something to the plot.
This is
Also
true. Because like
Also
even go on.
I just wanted, before we close down the thing, because I wanted to go through Anita Sarkees's review of Star Wars, because it's been like the feminist messiah.
I am against giving her even this. Why are we even talking about?
Okay, why don't we skip over her and discuss her as where she could have been a feminist icon, but they blew it out their ass with lazy writing.
Well, that's the thing. There are other actual, I would presume, better feminist critiques that we could look at, or other arguments.
Yeah, I like somebody who actually graduated the school, actually took like gender studies as a degree, instead of somebody that has a communications degree and she once walked by a textbook somebody left open.
Just in general, I'm just kind of tired of people pulling up and say, "Hey, look what Brianna Wu said." Like, why?
Who the fuck cares?
Even Brianna Wu
all right.
don't care. You care more than anyone else does. I'm sorry.
Well, but the thing was, I was gonna talk, because BB-8 rolls up to R2, and I've seen the explanation from JJ himself, and he said that BB-8 rolled up to R2 and said he had the plans, and R2 just woke up. That's just...
If the director has to explain it, it's a failure.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
If the director has to explain it to you verbally, he is fucking failed.
Like it was said in chat, when you have literal tiers of canon, you have a problem.
Yeah. I mean, and as you know, I looked at it from, I took gender studies courses because it was the 2010s and they shoved that shit down my fucking throat. I had to get it for a fucking technical degree. But I took the gender studies courses and I watched it, and the concept back in my mind, I judge and evaluate everybody else's work the same as I do my own. And Rey could have been amazing. She could have had the actual hero's journey. She could have started out as a fucking orphan scavenger on the planet, met Han Solo, taught how to fly the fucking Millennium Falcon, gone and met Leia, Leia sensing the Force in her, have a little fucking 80s Rocky training montage, and maybe throw Drago in the background boxing or something, and then Finn getting a little bit more training, and then they go off to take on this fucking super weapon, which anything but a goddamn basketball with a dick sticking out of it. And for the last gasp of the new fucking resistance, because the New Republic is now gone, and we could have seen the hero's journey. She could have been a great stand-up character. We could have seen her grow. We could have seen her powers grow. There was 2.5 hours for her to do it. And instead, she magically had it, or we were expected to say, okay, because she can use a staff to fight, like she's been fighting the other scavengers, and She has good spatial because she's been scavenging inside of wrecked Star Destroyers. Instead of making us come up with excuses for her to have these powers, they could have used the medium of movie, which is to show you things, to show it to you instead of telling you or making you imagine. Because they did that, they robbed her of everything that could have been good. She's not a feminist icon because her powers are given to her. She didn't earn them.
I think that's just the irony of getting what they asked for. That just sort of undermines what's so shallow about.
Because Leia earned everything.
Another thing, I don't understand why they market Finn with the lightsaber if ultimately he...
Yeah, I wanted to talk because I've seen an argument that because Rey knew how to handle herself with a staff, is the same thing that she knew how to use the lightsaber. That makes no fucking sense.
No, that makes no sense. What's up? I mean, Finn was actually trained with a weapon similar to a lightsaber, so there's no reason she should have outclassed him.
Yeah, because you see, the stormtrooper, they're trained to handle, even in the new show Rebels, there are people trained to handle force sensitive users, and that Rey knows how to handle a lightsaber. Just like that, but it doesn't transfer like that. You can even I know a martial artist, and people like that say that it's not if you're good. Oh, sorry, my background noise.
Her muscle memory is wrong for using a sword. Her muscle memory.
Yeah,
is
but
wrong.
because a staff and a sword are two different fucking things.
I can understand if she just sort of kind of had basic competency, but to outclass Kylo Ren, no.
You know what it should have been? You know what it should have been is she should have been up there swinging it like Finn, gotten injured, and then right at the last second when it looks like Kylo Ren's going to take her fucking head off, he's forced choked or whatever, then the fucking planet tears open or Chewbacca shoots him in the dick.
I would have had
either way.
I would have had Chewbacca come in to save them with the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And then have a little moment where Kylo Ren tries to fuck up the Falcon, but he's hitting his limit there because
he's wounded, he's bleeding out, he's upset.
Even though he's strong, he's not quite a master yet, so he can't quite do it right. And he has to.
Yeah, he's not Starship Engine. Sorry, I threw that to you. He's not Starship Engine grabbing yet. And see, that could have been a big moment because then at the beginning at the beginning of the next movie, they show her where Luke's like, "That's enough. You've trained good for the day," and she yells something like, "It's not enough. I got beaten last time. It's never happening again." And then he can say some shit like, "Look, that anger is going to lead you down the dark side. Let it go." Great character building moment. She lost her first fight. Now she's throwing herself into the training to the point where she's getting obsessive and angry, and there's the tickle of the dark side. Bam. I don't even write for fucking Star Wars, and I wrote a better fucking ending.
I mean,
another thing I wish that they would have done is when Rey was going up to meet Luke, they should have had that paralleled with Kylo going up to meet Snoke. It should have had that parallel, showing them both moving forward.
And I don't know who Snoke is. I don't know if he's Darth Plagueis. I don't know if he's still the Emperor that somehow managed to bounce down the shaft and survive. I don't know if it's a horrible
heavily implied
fucking Darth Vader. I don't care if he's some new guy.
Apparently, the theme for Snoke is a remix theme from Plagueis.
Why can't we have something new?
Yeah,
Why can't this be some Sith Lord that stayed on the run and pulled a Yoda on some planet full of fucking hookers? And for fuck's sake, man.
Seems really.
Plagueis was a one-liner for fucking Palpatine to fuck with Anakin's head.
Yeah.
And now they're going to use it. Now they're going to try to say, "Oh, Plagueis is this is the culmination of Plagueis's plot to take over the galaxy. Is he created Anakin, and now everything has worked out exactly as he foresees." To which I'm going to stand up with a 3-hitter and yell, "That's bullshit!" and huck a whiskey bottle at the screen.
Fucking Xanatos Gambit.
Yeah. By losing, I have conquered all. We know that didn't look too good for the Japanese or the Nazis or anybody else in history. So get the fuck out. And they're gonna fucking pull that shit. Mark my fucking words. Finn's gonna lose a hand. Darth Plagueis is gonna say this was my plan all along, and you're gonna be standing there going, "What am I fucking watching a Saturday morning cartoon?" And it could have been better. It could have been fucking better.
Also, the
better, but Lucas got a hold of it.
Sorry, go ahead.
the thing is also in the expanded universe, there are force items.
More and more apparent as time goes by. Like the originals.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movies and in the Clone Wars series, nothing like that has been even introduced. So for suddenly Luke's lightsaber to hold memories and shit like that is just fucking stupid. Because it's
that's silly, fluffy, stupid movie stuff. That's sort of weird, forcey stuff, and I mean, I can let it go. But
and that fucking giving her the lightsaber was so fucking contrived that if you turned that fucking scene into a fucking writing 101 teacher that just done a bunch of meth, he would still fucking tell you to get the fuck out with it. I mean, holy shit, bug-eyed future-seeing chick has Luke's lightsaber and knows that some wandering idiot will go in the basement during an attack and find it, and this was meant to be... Get the fuck out! I mean, God! It just... If she would have... She should have found it on the... She should have found it on the fucking Millennium Falcon, and Han Solo been like, yeah, that was my good friend Luke Skywalker's. He left it on the ship last time I saw him. I asked him, do you want it? And he said, no, I'm never going to use a lightsaber again. I'm done. And boom, she's got the lightsaber, there's the tiny Luke, and showed just how far Luke had fallen.
Could have been R2-D2 that had it.
Yeah, he could have shot it out of his fucking head, and I still would have bought it. But that was just...
Lazy.
Fucking lazy. And to show off their cool space battle.
I mean, in episode 4, and I mean, even the deleted scene in the Phantom Menace, there was a scene where Anakin beats the shit out of Greedo, which showed some dark side in him. And you even have the council, when they're questioning him, they sense his fear. And there are no flaws with Rey. So I'm skimming through a topic which I posted on the Star Wars Reddit, where people want her to show some temptation for the dark side. But how?
Because you know what people want? They want her to show human fucking emotion, and this Jedi have no fear shit is completely fucking stupid. You know what you call an animal with no fear? Lunch. Because the fucking monster ate it. You have to have fear to kick in all those chemicals that let you do more than stand there with your dick and watch while fucking Darth Maul tears your spine out. Well, have no fear is stupid. It should be control your emotions, not don't have any. God, I hate Yoda for that shit.
No. You don't understand. It is control your emotions. It has always been control your emotions.
The way they've been making it sound lately, though, is that you're not supposed to have any. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
No, that's never the case. That's never the case with Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon. Even Yoda shows empathy. He never tells people to not have emotions. It's always about control. You're supposed to understand your fear and conquer
so this is just assholes I'm reading when I'm drunk. I can live with that.
Yeah, they're dumb. And the thing with Luke and the New Jedi Order, I mean, we're going back to expanded canon here. Luke's New Jedi Order completely abandoned that entirely.
Good.
Yeah, because remember with Luke, it was love that brought Anakin back to the light side at the end. I mean, Luke got married, he had a wife, kid. I mean, he completely abandoned the whole. You have to, have no control of your emotions. You have to repress themselves or anything. Right.
And you see Yoda. He even expresses his feelings when you see in Episode 3 when all the Jedi are getting killed. He gets heartbroken. He's not a fucking robot.
Yeah, the way they've been making it sound lately is, oh, you know, she she embraced the Force, so she had no fear and no anger, and she was floating in a pool of calmness. That's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works. Even fucking whatchamacallit, Mace Windu was all about that fucking focused rage.
Yeah, you cannot show me fucking Samuel L. Jackson.
That was his fighting. Even in the canon, that was his fighting style, based around channeling his anger.
Because I mean, I've seen people. Oh, what they're doing is they're pulling some shit from another series. Did you ever read The Wheel of Time? Did you ever waste your time and do that?
No, I know of The Wheel of Time. I never.
In The Wheel of Time, every time one of the big swordsmanship guys got rolled up on the main protagonist, he would embrace this inner calm thing and do stork style or some shit, but he would be a lily floating in a pool, and he would magically beat the other guy. And that's what they were going for. When she closed her eyes and opened them, she fully embraced the Force. She had no fear. She was perfectly still and could tell what Kylo Ren was going to do based on his emotions to get the fuck out. It was infuriating. It was fucking infuriating. But then I'm easily enraged because I'm old and angry.
It was really, really bad.
And I went to see I can accept the Star Wars movies with all the fucking flaws. I mean, I can accept them all. Like, what the fuck is Aunt Beru and fucking Uncle Owen doing farming fucking water vapor on a desert planet? Bring that shit in on a ship a hell of a lot cheaper and easier. You know,
there's more nuance to that.
I know there's more nuance, but I can accept. Yeah, there's more nuance to it. But I mean, I can accept that. I can accept, we're gonna build this big fuck off Death Star instead of mounting this thing on a Superstar Destroyer. I can accept that. I can accept it for all its flaws. But this movie went to the. I could even suspend disbelief and suspend my problem with flaws for the prequels, even though I spent good money to go to the theater to see them. This one was so.
It took it to a new level.
It was like
I have a comment here, which
the first movie ever. I'm sorry.
I'm really drunk, so go ahead with the comment.
Where I posted on Soros. Here is the comment. Because I said Ray is Mary Sue, and that's a big plot hole. This is the response I got. Not really. She's a good mechanic because she's a scavenger. She's either built, modified the speeder she uses, and has to know how it works in order to keep it working. She has to know what parts scrap are valuable, useful, so she knows what she can get paid for. Said that she.
That's not even the worst thing about Ray, though.
There's more. She said that she's flown before, and just not out of the atmosphere. No, she's not. She never says that in the movie, just so you know. So that part isn't too ridiculous. She's not the world's worst lightsaber fighter because she has experience using the quarterstaff to fight. Again, the argument I used before.
Well, it's not about her being able to hold it. It's about her beating Kylo Ren, years experienced Force user, trained by both Luke and fucking Snow. There's no reason. It's one thing if she was just basically barely knowing how to use it against like some fucking scrubs, but she's up against fucking Kylo Ren, who is all but a Sith Lord at this point.
Yeah. Give me the first point again, Andy.
Plus, Kylo Ren was pretty significantly injured at that point. The only thing that could still be a plot hole is how well she was able to use the Jedi mind trick. But I'm totally comfortable. Not everyone is, and I'm okay with that. With covering that hole by simply saying the Force. We don't know exactly what the Force can do and how it works, how it manifests itself in people. So why not? I also think it's unreasonable to think that she subconsciously tapped into the Force in quarterstaff training and her agility climbing around the old star destroyers to find parts. She was unknowingly using the Force quite a bit. It's just that when she started knowingly trying to use and opening herself up to it, it had much more powerful effect.
Start with point one, Andy. Go back to the first point, please.
First of all, the last point that she was training herself is fucking stupid. Because she wasn't even aware that she knew how to use the Force.
Yeah, she thought the Force was a myth, not even a day prior.
She's a scavenger so she can rebuild things.
That's not even
Okay.
the furthest stretch. I mean,
Well,
I
hang
know.
on here. Hang on here. Back way in the bad old days, if a vehicle broke down and it was there for longer than like 10 minutes, guys who were scavenger teams would fucking steal everything but the frame and take it back to their unit so they could rebuild theirs because we had a parts problem in the opening deployment. Now,
Right.
just because I knew how to take a fucking impact wrench and help strip a fucking Cut V or Humvee down to the fucking frame does not mean I know how to put it back together. She's not building things. She's stripping them down, and she's stripping apart a fucking Star Destroyer that somehow crashed on the planet. I guess they hit the brakes right before they hit the ground, but she's taking stuff off there that she identifies as valuable. She has no idea how much they're worth, except for the last time she brought this in, he gave her 4 pieces of food. She has no idea what it does. She has no idea how actually valuable it is. She doesn't know if this guy's selling it for fucking 20 million bucks or selling it back to the fucking empire, selling it back to the fucking First Order. She knows jack and shit. And I want to say something. Scavenging around inside a fucking Super Star Destroyer or Star Destroyer that made a crash landing on a planet 20 years before is the dumbest fucking thing in the world. Do you know how much radiation would be in there? I mean, holy fuck. Can you imagine let's say the USS Enterprise aircraft carrier got dropped in Kansas. Go there 20 years later, steal some parts, and come out without glowing.
Well, that's because it has a nuclear reactor.
So what runs a Star Destroyer? Magic?
I don't know what kind of same energy that let the Death Star blow up planets without frying itself. I mean,
I know, but still, it's just and that fucking Star Destroyer, they kept showing it and saying this was a cool scene in the video game, wasn't it? How did that get there without blowing a crater in the fucking ground? What, did everybody fucking jump out at the last second and lightly floated down and landed on some pillows? Get fucked. If they fucking drop that Star Destroyer down, and just, Jesus, it just pissed me off. I saw that Star Destroyer and started grinding my fucking teeth.
Well, depending on how long it's been there, I could see it. Like, imagine if it did crash and make a crater, it wouldn't have been a crater for more than a few years.
Well, yeah, but would it be in that good a condition?
I don't know. I mean, that's not good conditions. I mean, it was in pieces, wasn't it? Literally.
Yeah, but oh fuck.
I mean, it's done.
I would also like the biggest thing he said, which I don't even know what kind of movies or things he has seen in Star Wars, but the only thing that I could still that could still be a plot hole is how well she was able to use the Jedi mind trick. With covering that whole by simply saying the Force, we don't know exactly what the Force can do, how it works, and how it manifests.
No, that's not true.
She watched him do it. She watched Kylo Ren do it. She was right there, and Kylo Ren had been fucking with her brain. Force sensitive, she's gonna feel it. I mean, it's not like she's watching it going, how is he doing that? She can feel him doing it. She tries it a couple times. Dude walks in there and basically says, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna put this rifle butt in your fucking mouth. She's panicking. She's afraid. It works. I can buy that. Luke's upside down with a Wampa fucking handprint on his ass, and he has seen it before. He still does it. It takes him a couple tries, but he did it. I can buy that fucking mind manipulation bit because Kylo Ren had done it to her. I can even take it, I mean, game mechanic wise, by doing it to her, there was a synthesis with her brain wiring up right. She sees him do it to somebody else. She tries.
I'm gonna say no on that one.
Fucking target number with her die 6 and convinces him. Not for long, but convinces him.
I can't. I'm sorry. What Kylo Ren was doing was not a mind trick. It wasn't a Jedi. It was very, very unsubtle, very aggressive, just straight
mind rape.
Right. And then she goes from that to knowing mind trick, which is, very careful, very subtle.
But I'll even defend that by saying, How
does she even know that?
I'll defend that with she'd been doing it to do about the food for years unconsciously. I'll defend that one. I will defend that somewhat. I'll defend it more than anything else. She's been using it unconsciously. She's been getting a little bit better deals than everybody else. She's been getting a little favoritism, which is why she has to carry the staff, because other people are going to jump her for her fucking food and kick her ass. And she's been using it a little subtly. I can deal with that.
That doesn't really seem to be the case, though, because she's barely getting by with some of what she's turning in. In fact, she got like really screwed hardcore at the beginning of the movie. I'm sorry, for me, that doesn't make sense.
Now, dude in front of her got bent over and sodomized right there at the desk. I mean, well, it was, I bought all this stuff to you. Here's half a muffin. Hit the bricks. I mean, I could buy the fucking Force. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Shit, I could buy that from it. I really can. That was the least objectionable to me.
Well, the thing is, we know how the Force works, and you need training, and she has none.
Well,
even with a stretch of the imagination, it would be really hard to use the Force trick even then. So,
because Luke's training consisted of put this blaster helmet on, let this fucking robot shoot you in the balls. I mean, that was his training.
Yeah, but she knew everything without training, and that's the problem.
Well, I'm saying Luke didn't use mind trick until after his time with Yoda.
No, and see, I'll accept mind trick, because mind trick, if we're gonna be referring to fucking canon shit, I get to refer to this. Mind trick is one of your base Jedi powers in the fucking role-playing games.
Yeah,
not the fucking video games, but the role-playing games.
The D20?
Even before that, even in the old West End games, Die 6, it's a base trick with a low target number. It's pretty fucking easy to use. It's pretty fucking basic. And it's usually the first power ever manifested. One of the books explained it is usually a child who is Force sensitive uses it on their parents unknowingly, and it's one of the ways that a Jedi wandering around could tell that this kid might be Force sensitive. That's the reason I could buy it, because I was using outside knowledge. You're right, that's a bunch of bullshit, because I was using game mechanics from the fucking 80s, and that's right.
But that's no longer canon, though.
You're right, that doesn't count.
I mean,
but that was more I could accept it.
Even then, what would her dice pool be? What not?
All ones. She had like 2 dice, maybe. Maybe 2 dice.
I guess.
But then at the same time, how much dice had Kylo Ren blown, keeping Chewbacca from fucking taking his head off?
Yeah.
How many dice did he have?
And then that many dice against Rey, and she just what did he botch?
Well, how much did he blown? How many dice did he been blowing? Let's see. He avoided Chewie blowing his head off. I mean, if we look at it from a game mechanics perspective,
no. Him strictly mind raping Rey and her resisting it. How bad would Ken's rolls would have had to be, and how many 6s would Rey had to roll in order for that really?
About the same as when my fucking Jedi fell off the fucking back of the Millennium Falcon and landed in a fucking Sarlacc pit that wasn't even there 10 minutes ago. Not that bad. No, I mean, she was fucked.
It's pretty bad.
But like I said, you're right. It's bullshit. I accepted it because of my own bias from the West End Games product back in the fucking Stone Age. You got me there. I will admit.
I've made jokes that in the next movie Rey is gonna train Luke because she already knows everything. Because
spaceship and go to a new planet. Fuck this, I'm out.
And there is also another comment just below that one that says, when they try to give her some flaws in episode 8, there will be cries of sexism.
Her flaw is that she's too perfect and everybody loves her.
Right. Well, that's the reason why they love her, though. It's not because she's a good character.
I mean,
it's because people think that she's the first female Jedi or some other shit.
Well, they also say they've also been bragging that she's the first female sci-fi character. To which I'd like to point at Sigourney Weaver.
That's back in the 80s too.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been females in sci-fi constantly.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are based off. I mean, a lot of the sort of tough space.
Yep, Sarah Connor. Sorry, my wife's talking.
there are a lot of a lot of tropes that are associated with even male characters today are based off of the characters of Sigourney Weaver and Sarah Connor.
Yeah, and let's look at Sigourney Weaver real quick. Let's look at her character in Aliens. That character had fucking all kinds of flaws.
And she got through them anyway. And Sarah Connor especially flawed.
Oh yeah, she was amazingly flawed.
She barely got through.
But they always say, oh well, Kyle Reese had to save her. Well, if you remember right, Kyle Reese died.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And she lived. She lived to be in all the other movies.
Well, is there anything else we would like to say before we close this down? I think we've pretty much covered it.
I would like to recover something I said before, that this was their chance to write a strong female character that goes through the hero's journey, that could have been relatable, that could have had flaws, that we could have seen personal growth, that we could have seen personal struggle, and they blew it out their fucking ass for toy product money.
They did pretty hard. And I remember actually I was actually speaking with some people, might have been a week ago. They talked about, how is there no Rey action figure? It's like
they're available on eBay for $300.
Have you even Googled that? It's hard to even find products that don't have Rey on it.
You know, and they're blaming Hasbro for not putting out the Monopoly game with Rey, but you got to remember that word came from on high with Disney. With do not put her in there because you'll have to print a background card and give away part of the movie. And even then, they're bitching because there was spoilers in another movie. I mean, in another product where they're talking about Lando's son. Great, we all know who Lando's son is. Thanks for that.
Well, I didn't know that, but all right.
I'm not going to blame it for you.
Lando I didn't even know Lando was... What?
Dude, what? Lando was Billy D. Williams. You can't tell me he wasn't laying pipe and leaving little squalling rats all across the universe, man.
I guess.
He rolled up with some Colt 45 and the music started playing and bam.
Just imagine.
I mean, Han Solo looked at him as a threat with Leia. I mean, dude was smooth.
I'm imagining how savvy the little Caribbean is and what future contraception would be like. There's no way.
Lando Strikes was the type that want a raw dog and bare belly it.
I guess I can buy it. It's done, but I can buy it.
I can see him rolling up going, Colt 45 and 2 zigzags, baby, that's all we need.
Well, I would like to...
Do what?
Lando was pretty high class. He wasn't sort of... I guess he was sort of...
What, you don't think fucking high-class people lay pipe?
No, it's not about laying pipe. All right.
You gotta remember, Lando was a gambler, a thief, and a con artist before he won Cloud City in a fucking poker match.
Yeah.
Anybody that hangs out with Han is laying pipe out back of the Moss Eisley Cantina.
All right. I still think it's dumb, but I can buy it.
And they blew somebody else. I don't remember because I just glossed over it, but they released several products that they've since had to recall because it listed shit from episode 9? Yeah, 8. Episode 8. So them bitching about, them putting out the Monopoly game without Rey in it because Hasbro was told by Disney, don't blow the spoiler in episode 7, so don't put Rey in there. And then these same exact people turn around and whine because spoilers were accidentally released in other games that had to be recalled. They want it both ways.
I think we pretty much agree that the Force Awakens was a big misstep and the whole thing. But what I think is the biggest mistake is George Lucas actually had a few ideas for the movie and they rejected them. It's not like he wanted to direct; he had some ideas and they just said fuck off, basically.
Well, J.J. Abrams shot a bunch of fucking heroin into his balls and then had a hooker sit on his face and watch the movie through that, with her ass muffling it, and then tried to write a Star Wars movie, and that's what we got. He knows there's X-Wings because he saw them once in the toy aisle. And he knows there's robots because he heard some beeping when he was changing position and figured that might be a robot. And then he shit this out, with all the knowledge of a fucking Star Wars of a Ukrainian kid with a head wound. I mean, it reeks of not knowing your source material. It reeks of being a bad movie. It reeks of pandering. If this was not a Star Wars movie, people would be gutter stomping it. It would have reviews of like 18%. If this was not a Star Wars movie, it wouldn't have made $10. It would have been direct to DVD.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a bad movie.
It would have been like Sharknado.
Yeah. Okay, you could put this shit.
That one movie about I barely remember, Martian Princess, whatever it was dumb.
Those girls are easy. Oh, John Carter.
No, not John Carter. That wasn't that bad. I mean, it was pretty bad, but
John
the other
Carter
one,
was pretty bad, but it was
Jupiter,
really good when it
Jupiter
wasted.
something.
Jupiter Rising. I watched that so baked. Do what?
That was an amazing movie.
Me and my wife loved it because we were really baked.
I
I
like
can understand it as a guilty pleasure, but
It's Jupiter Ascending.
Jupiter Ascending? Okay. That's the one where
Jupiter
she's like
Ascending.
some princess or something. Is that the one?
Yeah. The only thing that blew it for me is she went back to scrubbing toilets. And you know what? The only people that think that she would go back to scrubbing toilets are people who have never scrubbed one.
I don't know.
Well, do we have any last words for this before I close it completely?
Let's see. Since we're off that, is there anything?
Anything you forgot to mention?
Wrap us out of whiskey. Send money and hookers. Aside from that, yeah, unless you can come up with a subject, man, I'm tapped.
No, not
No,
really. Just what really takes the cake with what happens with Rey is how it contrasts to Kylo Ren. I mean, even if I was willing to buy that, Rey could do all that shit and accept it, the fact that she just sort of won over Kylo Ren like that, and that Kylo, just after killing Han Solo, just walked up and got his ass. That Han Solo, his death was wasted. The whole point of Han Solo dying was to show how far Kylo Ren was willing to go, and how far he had come in embracing the dark side. And apparently, what? Nothing.
Actually, there is something I'd like to say. The actors involved, I don't blame them for this. I thought their acting was pretty good, considering
we said that last time. The acting was really good.
You and I both know that they were standing in front of a fucking green screen, talking to a fucking golf ball most of the time. So, they did a really good job. The actor who played Kylo Ren is a pretty fucking, stand-up dude. For those of you who don't know, 9/11 happened. He ran out and joined the fucking Marine Corps. And the woman who played Rey, great fucking character. Great actress. Loved her. I can't wait to fucking see her in other movies where she isn't fucking tied down with this shit. The guy who played Finn, he was a decent, he fucking
I've seen him in lots of stuff before. He's a pretty good actor.
My wife's seen him lots of times, and she was all hyped because of him, because he's a good actor.
They all did pretty good with what they had.
I'm just asking, is there anyone knocking on the actors? Because I love the actors. I
just want to throw that out there. That my problem is not with the actors. And you know what? My problem with Rey is not because she's a woman. My problem would be the same with Rey if she was a fucking rock. My problem with Rey would be the same no matter what. Okay, if there was a male character pulling this shit that she was, I'd be bitching just as much. So it's got nothing to do with her sex. With her sex, I'm mad because they had a chance to do something decent and they blew it out their fucking ass. I mean, it has nothing to do with her sex. It has nothing to do with her as an actress, which is what a lot of people are claiming. I don't like it because it fails on a writing and story level, and it fails badly.
I like all the actors. I mean, I pissed all over Finn the character, but I love the guy who's playing him. That's why I was so disappointed. Because I think he got real bum rap with how they wrote Finn.
Yeah, and they really fucked up Finn. I mean, I mean, he went from a fucking character. I mean, when they first showed him and he's out there in his first battle and his fucking friend smears blood on his fucking helmet and he pushes his helmet off and he's like, I'm not fucking doing this. I was like, holy shit, here's some fucking characterization we've never seen. And then he's a sociopath killing the fucking First Order guys because LOL, I is good guy now. And I think that's where my brain started to check out. Because they could have had really good characterization with him being, you know, moral and upright, and then being, well, show us how to destroy this, and him being, no, I'll show you how to disable it, but there's women and children on that planet. No, well, they blew up that planet. That doesn't give us the right to do it. Isn't that what you're always screaming? Is just because one person does it, you can't do that. And an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Remember that? And if they want to fucking tie it into real world politics, they could say, they could have tied it in with, we can't do this. Just because they blew up our planets doesn't mean we should match eye for eye, because then the galaxy's going to have no planets left. Can't we just stop the weapon and not kill everybody? They could have had a great characterization. And if anybody shouldn't have wanted to blow up a fucking planet full of fucking civilians and First Order troops, it should have been Leia. It really should have. Yeah. But instead, they boiled it down to comic book bad, black and white, with everything we do is justified because we have good guys stamped next to us on the script, and everything they do is evil. Because they have bad guys.
It was stamped in a hammer fist today, even with the whole Nazi speech.
Yeah. And I mean, the Death Star you knew was full of military guys, and they knew the fucking deal when they put on the uniform. They knew that, you know, they had a chance to fucking die. But that was a planet. And it was full of crushes, it was full of, you know, but hey, they're the bad guys, so, you know, all they did was show that all that movie, all it showed was might makes right.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think if there are people watching this afterwards and have any counter arguments, I'm sure these two other would like to do another one of this. But I think we pretty much dismantled every counter argument towards The Force Awakens, because it's just a bad movie. It doesn't make any fucking sense, and yeah.
And that's why I'm disappointed. Because they have
all of us, all of the three of us, and I've seen plenty of reviews where people are disappointed. And on that note, I'm gonna leave it off. So, anything you want to shill?
Nah, I ain't got nothing to shill.
Not really.
Hey, actually, I do have something to show. Today is the 25th anniversary of the first day of the Air War during the 1991 Gulf War. 25 years ago today, they started the Air War.
God, Gulf War. It has been 25 years. Holy
It's been 25 years.
Well, I've had fun. I spent my birthday at least doing something constructive. So.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. Happy birthday, so, yeah, by the way.
Yeah, you already said so.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.